Alright, what up, y'all? Back here with another video for you guys today. I am finally hopping on this bandwagon. I meant to do it, actually I kind of thought about doing it last week, but I wanted to get that update out. I got a vinyl update coming up for the next Friday. So, I'm going to get on this metal tag here. I've been enjoying the crap out of all these videos everybody's been putting out, man. It's been a lot of fun, seeing everybody's answers, seeing how everybody does their thing. It's great. So, I'm going to cut on into it because it's probably going to take a good long while. We're listening to this killer Canis Duris album, Somber Wind from a Distant Shore in the background. This is top tier atmospheric black metal, maybe little hints of DSBM here and there. It kind of has a lot of that quality of, man, what's that band? Hermoder, whatever, from Sweden. It kind of reminds me quite a bit of that, so if you're interested in that, definitely check this out. From what I understand, this band definitely has something to do with Binder in these days, I think, or did at some point. I don't know, but it's a killer record. And the beer, Żywiec Białe, wheat beer. So Białe means white in Polish, so it's a white wheat beer. So it's going to be probably a little bit more pale, I presume, than your average run-of-the-mill wheat beer. But you know, the tradition of Polish beer tends to be a little bit more malty. It hits the nose like a lot of wheat beers. It kind of smells like sausage. Put it in Das Boot. I'm still really learning how to pour a beer into this friggin' boot, so forgive me if I get tons of head on top. Hey, I figured it out. We broke bound, boys. I say boys being, I checked my analytics and I have a 100% male audience, so cheers, boys. That's good. Tasty beer, not as pale as I was kind of expecting. It's different. It's got a lot of body to it. It kind of tastes like sausage. Anyway, whatever. You guys aren't here for beer. Unless you guys, would you guys be interested in a beer review? Would that be cool? I work at a brewery and I could get my brewmaster and me and we could just sit around and friggin' yap beer. If you guys think that would be a lot of fun, let me know. I'd probably be down with it and I think he'd be hyped on it. So 20 questions from the 2023 tag. Number 1 is a false start album, being albums that you struggled with at first and wound up becoming a fan of later on. And I'm going to start off with a testy one. Carcass, Recaputrefaction. I kind of thought Carcass was a sloppy, annoying mess for a long time. And I'm still not the hugest Carcass fan in the world. I like Carcass. I like the first 3 in particular. But this album in particular was a challenge for me. I really like it now. It's disgusting. I'm glad I have the original cover. But when I first heard this, I was like, why does anybody like this? You know, you'd think me being the black metal guy that I am, I'd be completely fine with the production style and the things like that, but it just wasn't. It wasn't doing it for me. So I'm finally getting into more grindy stuff due to stuff like Last Days of Humanity and I guess this too. But I'm still struggling with a lot of bands. So I hope y'all understand my issue here. Carcass is great, but that's number 1. Number 2 is a war-themed album. So everybody's been pulling the usual suspects. I wanted to come at it from a bit different of a mindset. So this is an album called Weapons of Our Warfare by Deliverance, which is a thrash metal band from the United States. And this isn't focusing specifically on the, physical gun shooting, spooky, nuclear missile kind of warfare. This is a song, or this album is basically like, from the Christian's perspective of spiritual warfare, which is a different angle to be taking, and especially in such a community where such an ideology and a worldview is greeted with such hostility. So I figured I could highlight such a wonderful speedy thrash metal album, and it deservedly so. I mean, 1990, these guys were a little out of their wheelhouse already. They're starting to get on the tail end. So I guess this time it's about spiritual warfare rather than tanks going over landscapes and stuff like that. Number 3 is the most influential musician of the past 10 years. I kind of read it as both to the scene in general, and most influential musician to the scene to myself, not the scene. And I'm gonna go with to myself and not the scene. Opeth, Michael Ackerfeld Michael Ackerfeld specifically is somebody who I find incredibly influential. He's been a huge influence on my vocals. He's been a huge influence on my learning how to clean sing. He's been a huge influence on my playing, my writing style, my music listening in general. He got me really into prog rock, got me more interested in something like that, a little bit more highbrow, wine swirlery kind of music. And in reality, Opeth really changed my perspective on a lot of things. And they're still one of my favorite bands. I like every album, obviously. Some are way better than others. I mean, come on now. Deliverance in particular is the one I have the most emotional baggage with, I would say. This also could have gone for one of the other spots on this list, which I'll probably mention if I remember to. But yeah, Michael Ackerfeld is my most influential musician of the past 10 years. Number 4, band on your to see list. This is probably the top of it, man. Sodom. I would go crazy to see Sodom. If they played in like Michigan or Minnesota or Ohio or Iowa, I would probably truck on over to those places to go see them. And I just would love every single second of it. This is one of my favorite bands of all time. They've never put out a bad record in my book. Again, just like Opeth, some stuff is way better than others. I mean, that's inarguable, and it's pretty much obvious. This is In the Sign of Evil and Obsessed by Cruelty on a 2-disc set. This is an Argentinian press as well. I have no clue if it is legally done, but it says it is on Discogs, but I really don't care. Bootleg's a bootleg. But Sodom, number 1 on my to see list. Number 5 is an energizing album. This, Fabulous Disaster by Exodus. I love thrash. So I started off as a doom guy, then as thrash guy. Then I kind of got out of the thrash for a while, and over the past handful of years, I've really regrown a love for thrash and stuff like that. And this is something I have incredibly fond memories of listening to. I listened to tons and tons of Exodus when I was in high school, specifically this one, Bounded by Blood as well, and what is it, like 1,000-Ton Killing Machine or something like that, the one with the big shovel like tank thing on the front. But this album in particular, dude, if you ever want to like drive fast, just put the song on, and the song Fabulous Disaster comes on, or Verbal Razors, Open Season, The Toxic Waltz, the last Act of Defiance. Dude, I gotta put this on the player here pretty soon. I gotta go cook, so I'll probably put this on. Maybe not. I got some other stuff to listen to. I don't know, whatever. Number 6 is a Big Freeze album. This is the only non-CD in the video. This is Source of the Gloss with Moonrise and Total Darkness. I absolutely adore this band. I picked this tape up off of one of my homies. Check that out. The Big Freeze, obviously meaning a winter landscape album or lyrics about winter. SDG is amazing. First off, look how good this tape looks with this wonderful cover. Amazing Canadian black metal. If you guys somehow haven't heard, it's atmospheric and it's old school all at the same time, and that's something I really like. It really hangs out in that kind of Ulver vein. I respect that greatly, because a lot of bands kind of try to emulate Ulver, but I think this band really does capture a lot of that similar style, at least on the first handful of records up through, I don't know, probably after the Perseverance of Primal Forests. After that, I think they started getting a little more Norsecore, but those first couple of records are great atmospheric black metal records. Next, number 7, a song with Royal Ties. First thing that came to my mind is The King is Dead, from the opening track from A Distant Thunder by Hellstar. Dude, I heard this track for the first time in the Creature Skateboards video, CSFU. I want to say Al Parton had that song in his video part, and the guy's just like shredding on a skateboard, absolutely destroying it on a skateboard with the song in the background. I don't know when that came out. I was probably 15 or 16, and I was like, dude, is that Iron Maiden? I was sitting in the basement with some of my boys, and like we were just hanging out, watching some old videos, you know, farting around a guitar, playing video games till 4 or 5 in the morning, like we used to do when I was a young dude, or a younger dude, I should say. And ever since then, I didn't really think about who it was, and then I got into Hellstar a handful of years ago, and dude, that song is just something that really sticks into my mind all the time. If you guys don't know Hellstar, I feel like they're one of the more underrated bands in American metal history. I really hope y'all would go for it. And I've been watching more of the heavy metallurgy stuff. Dude, check out this chick's thumbnails. They were talking about this in the in one of the heavy metallurgy episodes, and like I never noticed those friggin' thumbnails, dude. They look like the old Tech Deck guys, if you guys ever saw those, like the early 2000s, late 90s, little magnetic guys. I have one stuck to my ceiling right now, but I don't feel like getting up. Those are some serious thumbnails. Next, number 8 is a green album cover. Predominantly green album cover, I should say. I went with some classic death metal. Skin the Living, Jungle Rot, dude. This record rules. This is a Victory Records repress. I don't think they're on Victory when this dropped. This is late 90s, I want to say. Probably mid 90s, 96? Maybe? I don't know, whatever it is. But this album rips, dude. This is such a great old school groovy death metal album. Like the song Black Candlemass in particular is more than likely my favorite Jungle Rot song of all time. And if you guys aren't familiar with this record, I would highly recommend it. If you're a fan of Mortal Skull, if you like Obituary, Malevolent Creation, all these really, really good old school meat and potatoes death metal bands, but are just like memorable in the songwriting department and the catchy riffs, Jungle Rot really nails it. Hello, Kronos. Oh, okay. Keep going. So, an album from 2022 that I haven't listened to since 2022, which is number 9. This is going to be Eternal Hails by Darkthrone. I liked this a lot when it came out, and I still think it's a pretty good record. I don't know. I have so much other stuff to listen to. I have a stack of CDs literally 1.5 feet tall right there that I still have to finish getting through. And so, like, moderately good Darkthrone records are not the first thing that's going to hit the player. So, I don't know. Darkthrone. Alright, best find of 2022. This is, I'm like 95% sure I picked this up in 2022. If not, sorry. But this is Murtgrav with one of their albums. I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't speak any bit of Norwegian. Murtgrav is a brilliant folky black metal album from Norway. A band from Norway, sorry, I should say. This is one of their better albums, I would say. Pretty much, I actually messaged this guy over email. I got his email off the Metal Archives, and I was like, dude, y'all gonna be repressing the CD or what? So instead of saying yes, like I was hoping, he tells me, nah, we're actually, if I'm gonna do anything with that album, I'm just going to re-record the whole thing. And I was like, oh, well, that's beyond disappointing. So I finally was waiting around, checking out my Discogs want list, and I found a copy that was just the front booklet and the disc for I don't know, $23. So I was like, whatever, I'm buying it. Click, bought it, got here, printed off the back, and now I have it. So I don't know, I've done that with a couple of albums. I don't prefer to do it, but I am not spending $50 on a CD unless it's something like the Caladan Brood Echoes of Battle A5 Digipack, which I now have, and still in the shrink, by the way, because I'm a friggin' loser. But Murtgrav rules. A new band discovery of 2022. So this is a pretty old band from the 90s. This is Imperium with A Winter Sunset. I didn't get into this band for a number of years. I don't know, I thought it sounded sloppy. It's kind of lame, kind of boring. But last year, I don't know what it was, this whole atmospheric doom, it really started clicking with me. I started getting into bands like My Dying Bride and Anathema, the early Catatonia, which I liked early Catatonia, but My Dying Bride and Anathema were a new thing. And then this mix, it's basically black metal, doom metal, and folk music all rolled up in one super convenient package for this old boy right here. But I really enjoyed the crap out of it, and I think it's a band that I will continue to enjoy for many, many moons to come, I sure hope. It's great. Imperium's great. German band, if y'all ain't familiar. Next, an album sold to you by a song. I was going to grab Beyond the Permafrost by Skeleton Witch, but I decided against it and picked up something else, which is a really unpopular album. Grand Declaration of War by Mayhem. This is how I got into Mayhem. I know. Before you're calling me a poser in the comments, which, whatever. I got into them. I downloaded a bunch of stuff on one of those weird music websites that you get shady, like, free Bluetooth or free like MP3 files and stuff from. I just downloaded whatever Mayhem I could get a hold of, and I was sifting through it a little bit, and I heard the song Grand Declaration of War, and just like the creepy intro, and then how it continues forth in the song, kind of world builds. Then there's that really haunting vocal line, the question down, kind of thing that, what is a maniac that's doing the vocals on this album? I don't really care. But that really sold me. I was like, this is terrifying. This is wild. This is different. This is a very different album, and I didn't know what to really think of it. I had maybe a touch of black metal in my regular music listening, maybe with like Dimmu Borgir, but this stuff really changed my mind on it, and I was like, maybe this might be the genre I'm gonna sink my teeth into. So Mayhem. Number 13, the most anticipated album of 2023. I'm kind of awful about keeping up with new albums every year, so I kind of thinking I'm gonna really like the Ahab album, which apparently dropped like yesterday. The new Enslaved sounds like it's going to be really cool. Kind of hyped for the new Sango Sugarbog. I really like Sango Sugarbog stuff. I know everybody's going to hate on them for whatever reason, but they're fun, man. Number 14, the 23rd album on my shelf. So I have my metal shelf micro-genre organized. I have both shelves micro-genre organized. So even 23 in, we're still in the atmospheric black metal section, and it's only in B. So this number 23 is Belanos with the album Speechlage. I don't speak French, dude. But it's some folky touched black metal. I shouldn't say folky tinged, it's more folky touched, like just a little bit. And it's really good record, man. It's very enjoyable. It's atmospheric. It's very dense, and it's a good band, man. Belanos is fun. If you guys like your Drooks and your other paganish black metal bands, I think you'll like Belanos. Next one up is going to be the newest album in your collection. Now, you guys know I don't prefer to show stuff that I haven't particularly listened to yet, but I picked this up literally at the last time I went and bought CDs at a record store. This is the last thing I put in my pile, and it's Cycle of Contempt by Razor. I picked this up for $4 used, and I was just like, whatever, I'll give it a shot. I'm really a big fan of the older era of Razor, so I figured at bare minimum they deserve a shot. It might get played once and then put back on the shelf to never be listened to again, or I might put it on and be as impressed as I am with Newer Testament. We'll see how it goes, but I haven't gotten around to listening to this one yet. But Razor is a great band, man. You guys know that. Next, a random poll. Hooded Menace with Effigies of Evil. I literally got into this years ago at this point. I mean, obviously I'm not as long-term of a Hooded Menace fan as some of y'all are, but I picked this LP up for $5 in a discount bin. It wasn't even used. It was $5 in a discount bin. And then I want to buy the CD later on. It's a really, really, really good Death Doom album. I mean, you guys know that. A lot of guys call this the worst Hooded Menace album. I'm on the opposite side of that spectrum because I think this is the best Hooded Menace album. And I think that has a lot to do with the pull of your first listen has on what your favorites are, you know. Like, I have probably some rather unpopular opinions on a lot of different bands because the first album I listened to was that album, you know, like Grand Declaration of War. Not my favorite Mayhem. First thing I heard. Cold Lake, Celtic Frost. First thing I heard. This is the first thing I heard from Hooded Menace, and it kind of has stuck in my mind ever since. So, gotta love it. Let's see. Number 17, a band discovered from social media. I mean, I could say this about 500,000 different bands in my collection, but this is the one that really started it all. This is Piles of Rotting Flesh by Stages of Decomposition. I got super, super into this band from Count Blackguard's video years ago. I've mentioned it on a couple occasions on this channel. This is like the first album I fell in love with in death metal. I know it's a bit obscure for a first real love as far as the genre goes, but it's like this and Cannibal Corpse. That was the thing, man. This is what got me all into it. This, Cannibal Corpse, Behemoth, Skeleton Witch, stuff like that. It's slammy, but it's more of the old school brutal death metal rather than being straight up like dun, 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 like every slam band is, you know, your craniums, your cerebral incubations, your epicardiotomies, things like that. This is a lot more old school. This is a lot more close to your mortal decays, your impending doom, or what is it, immortal suffering, impending doom of a freaking deathcore band. But whatever. Stages of Decomposition, Piles of Rotting Flesh. Number 18, where do you see your collection in 5 years? Filling up 2 16-foot racks. I have a problem, y'all. I have all of this overflow on this side. And this is 16 feet long behind me and 4 feet tall, and it is full. I have overflow of non-metal and overflow of metal. They each get half, even though there's one extra layer on the metal side. And I could probably fill almost another 4 foot section, 4 by 4 foot section of metal as it is. And I hope to be moving within the next year. So, it's going to be filling racks. I've had a couple of ideas of purging anything I would consider to be less than a good album from the collection, but I'm well aware I will regret it immensely if I do it, so I'm probably going to hold off on that. So I guess I'll see myself continually buying stuff this year. I kind of only plan on picking up new albums for the most part, unless I really am like a package I have coming right now is stuff that I've been searching for years, and Gordon over at the Black and Him channel, because he's a legend, hit me up with the link to find some Bill Sneer material, so I had to pull the trigger. So thank you, Gordon. I appreciate you, buddy. So I guess that's where it is. Continuous growth unto the point of overflow on a double-sized rack. 19. New release not bought yet because of the price. I don't know if it's necessarily because of the price as much as the lack of availability, but I guess that kind of goes hand in hand with the price. But the new album by Vitriashi Vietier, something like that, whatever. I'm still working on my Polish, don't worry. It's amazing. Absolutely stellar black metal album from last year. And basically the only CD edition is like a leather bound book that has sold out on LP and CD, and I'm kind of livid about it. I wish I could just track down a copy. So if any of y'all have one, you're willing to part with it, hit me up on the old Instagram, life_eternal_crypto. And number 20, a song that does not belong on the album. Stella Polaris by Goat Moon. This album, the last song, I don't know how to pronounce it, that's in Finnish, but this whole album is more of like the Voite Valhalla and however you pronounce the other album with the owl on it. This is like that style, and then Motley Crue with poorly sang vocals. So it really, really is a weird ending to the album, but I do appreciate it, man. I really do think Goat Goat Moon is a great project. Black Goat is a immense talent out of the Finnish scene, and you know, again, great album cover too. Goat Moon rules, dude. So that's gonna be it. So I hope y'all enjoyed this metal tag video. Um, I'd love to see more people doing them. So I'll see y'all in the next one in the vinyl video I got going on. It's going to be an all black metal vinyl update. So I'll catch you guys next week.